Hey, I just got back from lunch. Did you finish that report yet?
Well, not exactly. Still working on it. I'm not finished just yet. I got a little sidetracked, but I will get them to you first thing this afternoon.
It is first thing this afternoon.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but I mean, I am working on
But
it. I'll have.
what do you mean that the report isn't finished yet?
I'm still in the process of working on it. I've just been a little distracted.
Distracted. Our meeting starts in an hour.
I can have it.
No. What were you doing? Were you listening to another hunting podcast again? I swear, I give the staff in this office the freedom to do whatever they want to do as long as they meet a deadline. That is the first bullet underneath your job description. Pays attention to detail and deadlines. And deadlines. With emphasis Dude, are you even listening to me right now?
Welcome to episode 184 of the Whitetail Distraction Podcast. My name's Austin, and joining me on the phone from his house, not the pod port, Charles Headland. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing comfortable. That's all I can tell you. I'm
like
pretty
it.
comfortable. What's going on, man? It's been too long.
It has been too long, man. It's been too long. You have been dadding it up, dude.
Indeed. Yeah, that amongst a bunch of other stuff. But it's been great. It's been a fun month, we'll call it, since, tomorrow is one full month.
That is awesome, dude. Girl dad.
That's right. Yeah. It's been awesome, man. It's been a blessing. It's been so much fun. Honestly, she's an angel, and she's treating us way too good so far. So I'm gonna knock on some wood here, and hope that things continue because I've been doing some wood stuff. I mean, I've been shooting my bow, pretty much doing all kinds of things as well, which is sometimes unheard of with a newborn. So
That is absolutely true.
you know it all too well. I'm getting spoiled.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. That's awesome, though, man. I'm glad. I'm glad you're getting back up. How's the old ankle doing?
The ankle, I would call it, it's not quite 100%, but I bet you we're over 80% back. I mean, I've been walking without a boot or anything probably for the last week and a half.
No kidding.
Yeah, just a simple little ankle brace on it, and I've been moving pretty good. There's still some flexibility issues, and unfortunately, when you basically put all your weight on one leg and hip and stand on one leg for weeks and weeks, your hip and everything starts to kind of cheat that way automatically, and you kind of have to train your body to go back to, hey, I have two legs again. Walk normal.
Definitely. No, that's the
But I
problem a
will-
lot of people get into, man. They start, like you said, they start favoring that other side, and then they wear out that other side. So that's something
Exactly.
you got to keep in mind.
Yeah, I will say that I was able to at least make one move on my one stick
Sweet.
the other day. So we still have, what is it, 2.5 weeks until the opener of our early season. So
Yes, sir.
I think by then I should be in prime shape to be able to hunt.
Tip-top condition, man. That's what I like to hear.
I'm hoping anyhow, but
Yeah.
it's I tell everybody I'm healing by necessity.
Yeah.
To have a newborn and try to help, a first-time mother out, and myself being first-time parents, you need to be able to move and be mobile, and breaking your ankle a week before your child is born is not an ideal situation. But, we were able to get out with the side-by-side just this past weekend and get food out and climb up, trim trees, and set some cameras, fix them up, and do all the things that we love to do as sportsmen in this early portion right before season kicks off.
Awesome, dude. Awesome. You got any prospects in the old site picture, buddy?
Dude, we have just some absolute studs. I mean, Junior's back. Junior is a freak this year. I mean, Junior last year, it's such an easy deer to recognize. He's got basically a 4-point sight on his right with split brow, and then a 5-point sight on his left.
Oh man.
So He's a true 9-point frame, 10-point that is out past his ears, super heavy, long, swooping, wide main beams. Not a very tall deer, but a very heavy, brute kind of buck. So very excited for him. And then we have some big 8-points, man. One I think is Brucey. We're kind of back and forth. Joe and I had a buck we were calling Apple Neck last year. This is one of the biggest body deer you had ever seen. And I think that we pulled a picture. It was October 5th last year. This deer's neck looked like he was prime rut. I mean, just an absolute giant behemoth deer. So we don't know if it's him or Brucey, but it's a really nice 8-point. So we got like 2 or 3 of them. I'm pretty excited about it.
That is awesome.
Yeah. What about yourself? We talked a little bit before this.
Yeah, man, I got a couple that have just my previous cameras. I had some up from last year that early on I started getting a couple of deer on, and then it just got too green, and I ended up pulling cameras because I wasn't getting anything but brush and stuff. I think we talked about that before. But then went out, did a little bit of mineral site work, and put up some cameras and stuff like that. Man, it's just like it's been a doe factory. And again, I don't know what it is this year, man, but I got another freaking just Mondo spike. It's like killing me this year with spikes. And he is like the most visible deer. He's there what feels like all day, every day. I just have like 1,000 pictures of him, and a family of like 6 raccoons, which is just crazy. And then this past weekend I put up a camera, and dude, it's been nothing but bucks, which is crazy. There's one in particular that I'm pretty excited about, and there's a second one that's pretty good. He's shedding his velvet right now. He's been pretty visible every morning since, so that's exciting.
That's awesome, dude. I know that all of mine, it was just like all the deer we were watching. I think it was 2, maybe 3 days ago. The first one, I think it was Nubby G. He was dropping, and he came into the food, and there was just velvet hanging off his rack. He posed left, posed center, gave us these beautiful pictures of him with velvet just draping off of him. And then it was like a flip switch. These bucks, you would see them one night, and then the next day they'd completely be hard-horned.
Unreal.
It was so cool just to watch them kind of progress, like one deer at a time would just go hard-horned. We're going to have to compare spikes, though, because we have this spike that looks like an antelope. I mean, he is a serious spike. The dude is insane.
That's awesome.
I'm trying to find a picture of him for you.
I just sent you a picture over that one that just keeps showing up every morning. He's a really solid 8-point.
I love it. Let me see here. I'm going to scroll through. I'll find that spike. I mean, this dude literally looks like an antelope whenever you look at him.
It's so funny.
I love that we're geeking over spikes right now, too.
It's funny, man. Like, I had that one early on, man. I don't know what he has. Like, 13-inch spikes, man. Just like just a stud. And then this one that just hangs out all the time. He's still in velvet right now. I got a bunch of deer still in velvet and a couple that are hardhorn, but he's probably a solid 9-inch spike, man, on both sides. It's just unbelievable.
I think all of our mature, bigger bucks are completely hardhorned right now.
Yeah.
Our smaller bucks, there's some still holding velvet. There's one that we got tonight. He's got that same teardrop rack, like that tight, real tall rack, 8-point, 7-point frame with the crab claws at the end. And he's still in velvet. We have 3 bucks that look like that right now.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, that gene runs so strong down there. And we're naming them. It's like king crab, snow crab, and then I don't even know if we have a name for the other one, but it's just so stupid.
It's funny, man.
Yeah, we're having fun with it this year, man. We on top of dropping food and everything we did the other day, we were able to take that side-by-side, my dad's side-by-side out, and we cleared a big area out in front of Joe's stand where we've gotten pretty much every night this past week since we dropped food, Saturday or Sunday, I can't remember which day we dropped food. It might have been Saturday morning. We've had Junior there every single night and in daylight. So it's he's at least exciting us in that much. But it was nice to be able to knock it all down because it was all just high weeds and nasty stuff, and we were able to plant some throw and grow.
Nice.
Literally, as we were throwing it out, it started raining. So I mean,
Beautiful.
you could not time it up any better. I don't know
Well,
why I can't
s-
spike.
speaking of planting, I'm just going to hop right in the ads real quick because that's the perfect
Okay.
thing we can go into. Just right off the bat, I'm going to start off with Back 40 seed because you're talking about planting. So I'm just going to go into that for a second. Back 40 Alpha Blend. You can plant this bad boy March through June or also August through October,
Wow.
which is pretty cool. Enhanced
Hmm.
yield, drought and cold tolerant. It is it's a pretty good looking blend there, man.
Heck yeah. I'll tell you, we just talking to Mikey Fennell the other day, we decided that he was going to go with the rescue blend
Awesome.
from Back 40 Seed, and he went out and cleared about an acre worth of land.
I saw that. He was
Yeah, it
driving his
looks
truck
really
around and like he sprayed it and
good.
then he mowed it this past weekend. It is looking good.
Yeah, it's looking great, and that's a beautiful thing. I was kind of telling him a couple of their blends, the Uncle Al's blend and some of the stuff they offer, and I was like, hey, just call them and see what they think, see what they think you should throw, and that's basically what he did. He called him up, and I think he talked to Roy, and he kind of bounced back and forth between Game Fuel and the Rescue blend, and I guess he ended up going with the Rescue blend. So
Awesome, man.
I'm excited to see how that works out for him. But that's basically, we talked about it on that episode with them. The Rescue blend's your last. I told him he wasn't out of that time frame. He could still plant a lot of this stuff,
I think so
but
too.
that Rescue blend's basically when things don't work out. And I'm guessing they went with that just because he doesn't know what his soil levels are. He's never planted it before,
Yep.
so why not just get something in there that's green? The deer are going to eat it. They're going to like it. And then if he gets a chance to do it again next year, then maybe look into something a little more serious.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty good call, honestly. And if I can remember back to that episode, I think that stuff grows pretty dang fast too.
It does. It grows like immediately.
Yeah.
But that's why, it's nice to get things moving. He wants things moving right now.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
I don't blame him.
I don't either. I don't either. That's a good spot. He lost a lot of his properties and stuff like that. So, having a spot like that that's close by and it sets up nice, I think he's gonna have some good luck with that.
I sure hope so. Looking at those pictures too right now. Those are nice.
Pretty solid bucks, man, for not having any and just getting in there and they're showing up. That one that's still in velvet, he has his brow tine starting to that one real big brow he's starting to shed. So I think he's
Mhm.
shed now. He's a solid freaking 8-point, man.
Heck yeah. Send you all my pictures. I'm gonna send them all. All right, let's keep going though. Let's jump into Scree, man.
Let's jump into
I know
Scree
you
here.
got some positive things with Scree lately. I know when I was out Saturday, I told you it just started to rain. Well, I just happened to have my Nebo rain jacket with me. Threw that baby on, continue to work and trim up lanes and do what I needed to do. It absolutely downpoured on us, and I stayed dry.
That's awesome, man.
Shout out to Scree for the Nebo rain jacket.
It's also super convenient that thing just packs into absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Holy bejesus, Chucky.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Yeah.
good looking buck, dude.
Yeah, I figured that's what you were looking at. The front picture. The front one is Junior. That was tonight.
That was tonight.
Yeah, and you can see how we kind of cleared out that spot in the background. For
Yeah.
probably about, I don't know, 25 yards
Yeah.
on the edge of the field.
Dude,
And then
that
look at all the bucks in the second picture. We have this camera down in this bedding area where you have like the 10-point we've been following. He's a young deer. He's real tight. Everything's real close together. You got Nubby G down there. You have King Crab in the background. Then you have like this little Forky that's like in the middle of them all, refereeing the fights. I don't know about you, and we'll get back to, I think we have VIP archery to talk about as well. But dude, the deer have been brawling lately. There was another fight tonight. Brucey got it into it with a deer. I'm not sure which one it was. He came off camera and they were back and forth throwing each other around.
That's unreal, man.
there's a lot of testosterone happening since those velvet falling off, man. Deer's
Absolutely.
horns.
It has been pretty
They-
wild, man. And we've had that cooler weather too. I don't know if that's playing into it. I know typically early when it gets cool like that, it might shut them down, but I think it's done the exact opposite to them now. I think they're up on their feet and they're just running back and forth to food sources and they're losing that velvet. And it's like you said, they're just loaded full of testosterone right now.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen that flip, but I know I have. I've seen the switch flip on our properties. These deer are just up on their feet. I've been getting so many pictures. The bucks are all over several different cameras a day. It's been freaking awesome. And it's gonna get better. The weather is looking insanely nice over the next few days. So I mean, dude, if this doesn't get you fired up for deer season, I don't know what does.
Oh,
I really
yeah,
don't.
man. I don't know what does either. I mean, this is just like the little cherry on top. I know a couple weeks ago when it was starting to just cool down, I was just all antsy in my pantsy. I came out for work and it was, dude, it was cool and it just smelled like fall. And I was like,
Yeah, when that sun starts to set and you're reaching for a jacket or a hoodie, it's starting to feel right. It's starting to feel right.
yeah, dude, it's so close. I can taste it.
I was completely over those hot 90-degree days. I'll tell you that much.
You and me both, dude. It was sweltering in the shop at work.
But I'll tell you what else feels right? And that is sending a VIP archery broadhead through the cavity of a deer.
Oh my
That's what feels
goodness. You're absolutely correct. Do you know what comes out the other side?
the broadhead.
Freddy
And a
Krueger
lot
blood.
Got me.
Got him. No, I'm serious, man. I think I've turned a couple people onto them recently, and they just really are. They're great broadheads, man. I'm sitting here looking at the combat veteran right now. It's hands down my favorite across the board. But man, all of them, they're just all really great broadheads.
I think if you start to mix a commander into your quiver, you're going to start to really like it as well.
It's gonna come
They're
across as
both-
my favy, huh?
I don't know, because the combat veteran's been too good to me for too many years. That broadhead has just been number one. But the commanders starting to make a push.
Uh-oh.
It's just, I feel I do have both in the quiver. At any given time, I could pull one out, and I know it's going to perform. So, I mean, there's really no complaints for me. I can shoot both broadheads, one or the other. I can grab any random arrow out of my quiver at any time, and I have full confidence in my
Absolutely.
equipment. And that's all you can ask for out of your equipment and your broadheads.
I totally agree.
I just like that. I've been a 3-blade guy my whole life. I've been a 3-blade guy. So like that extra razor sharp, longer cutting blade surface, I love it.
It gets you all excited. I love that.
It does. It absolutely. I will tell you the maintenance on them is a little bit more difficult though. It's definitely easier, like tenfold easier to take the old combat veteran apart, clean them all up, and put it back together. The commander, you have to know what you're doing. So if you don't know, watch a video or whatever. Once you figure it out, it's super easy. But the first time I did, I was like, wait a second, I'm not just taking this thing apart and putting it back together like I did, the old combat veteran. So
yeah.
that is my only warning is, learn what you're doing before you take it apart.
Totally agree. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Well,
The business in there. I like it.
business is out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I
Well,
forgot
I
to
mean,
talk
it-
about something with Scree. I was going to put it in there. I
Oh,
totally
yeah,
forgot about it.
Right.
Yeah. They had that the Labor Day sale going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I ordered a hat. I was like, oh man, I need a new Scree hat. Mine's starting to look like a little ratty. So I ordered a hat and it came yesterday and I opened up the box and I was like, man, this doesn't quite look like the hat that I ordered. It's super close, but I was like, I don't know what's going on here. And there was like, I don't know if they were just super busy or what, but I got on and I actually used their chat instead of calling them. And I got a hold of Noah Nielsen. And I was like, I got this. I'll just send it back and return it, and I'll just reorder the new one. And he was like, you know what? No, I appreciate you repping the gear. He's like, you hold on to that hat, and like, Literally this morning, I got a shipping confirmation. Here comes my new hat.
No way.
Their customer service is just top notch.
It truly is, and you don't ever get that from a chat person either,
No,
like ever.
it was just unreal, man. I love those guys. They're so good at everything.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad you had a good experience, as we've always had good experiences dealing with Screw over the years.
Oh, totally.
And up on them, man. I really can't. I mean, it's a guilt-free endorsement, and it's something that we've obviously been wearing and believe in over the last several years. So I'm going to keep rocking them, and I'm, one way or another, it's the best gear, some of the best bang for your buck, and some of the best quality stuff. So at least I know when I'm out there, I'm comfortable. I'm going to be warm or cool, depending on what I want to wear.
Yeah, man.
And at the end of the day, I know what I can get out of it. I know what to expect out of it. So it's like elk season right now too. So thinking about some elk trips in the future and whatnot, it's like, listen, the gear's the last thing I got to worry about. I'm good with clothing. I'm good with boots. It's like, what do I really need? I don't really have a pack yet, but let's just say that laundry list to make that trip a reality, it's shortened thanks
smaller
to
and smaller.
So
yeah, man. I actually noticed on bow hunting league the other day, a couple of guys entered the first elk in the elk hunting contest, which was pretty sweet.
wow, I can't believe it.
They're
already
dropping elk already, man.
That's just wild. I know a lot of guys are killing some velvet bucks. Tennessee velvet season opened up. Heck, the South Carolina season's been open since mid-August.
Yep.
So people are hunting. People are out there. People are laying down some animals. I did see the statistic on the bow hunting league that they've already killed, I think 20-some deer, 20-some bucks, and they're at like 130-inch average.
Dude, I saw some slammers on there earlier. Both deer that I saw that were entered were velvet, and both of them were like over 100.
Yeah, insane.
Unreal, man.
I think we need to start making some trips down to Tennessee.
Oh my goodness. I wonder where those bucks were from. I didn't really look, and I'm wondering if it was Tennessee.
Well, then I think South Dakota must open up too, because I saw that the Tag and Brag boys dropped a really nice one.
I think they both shot one. It's North Dakota.
North Dakota, yes, that's right.
Nodak.
Because South Dakota's real weird about like residents only, and they have real weird laws about that. So yeah, Nodak. They killed some dandies, man.
Yeah, they did. I think back-to-back nights too, which is just impressive, man. That is.
That's probably why I didn't even realize. I thought I thought it was probably just the same post.
Probably.
I didn't even realize it was two different deer.
Yeah. Yeah, those guys they're awesome dudes.
Wow. They really are. I've been watching some of their Tennessee footage and content that they've been dropping. Hunting Public's been dropping some elk stuff. It's just such a fun time of year right now that like doing some deer prep and getting the pictures and then watching the videos starting to drop again. It's, man, I don't know. It's kind of like that month leading up to turkey season for me right now. I'm getting all fired up and getting all tingly inside.
I'm with you, dude. I'm with you. You thinking of using anything new this year? You got any new gear or anything like that, or any new tactics you're going to employ, or what do you got going on?
I don't know about gear. I'm keeping it pretty simple. Just kind of modified a couple things. I have different setup to try to start filming a little bit with the phone.
Sweet.
So I have the magnetic setups and whatnot with the camera arm to try to use that since my camera went down. And then I kind of modified my saddle a little bit to my climbing method, but everything's pretty much the same. I've been locked in with this one sticking method with the saddle, and everything's pretty much the same. As far as what to do tactic wise, I may switch things up a little bit, because it's especially the property we have all these cameras on that we've been watching these deer. The majority of the mature is what I'm trying to say. Big deer. Just put those two words completely together.
It's good.
The maturity, those deer are on the opposite side of the property. We have a vague idea of where they're bedding. They're not really where I've been accessing and hunting and was able to take crooked tine and do some things with them. So I'm gonna have to get creative. I'm hoping to lean on acorns this year. I've been seeing and hearing of a heavy acorn crop this year.
Yeah, dude, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I've been seeing videos and pictures, and things look very good. And that property has one side that is just loaded with acorns. So I'm thinking about hitting that early in the year and seeing if I can't, find the deer slipping up early enough to take them out. But other than that, I don't know, man. I probably need to sit down and kind of go over it in my head, because I don't know about you, but the years that I don't prepare ahead of time, in this time range, I'll get into season and it'll fly by so quickly. And then I'll end up sitting after or towards the end of the season looking back going, man, I really wish I would have taken advantage of this in the early season, or have done that earlier. And it's not a hard thing to allow the season to just kind of get away from you.
Yeah.
If you're not prepared. I don't know if you have a plan yet, but right now, other than that property, I do want to get out to another property. I want to go north, get some cameras up. I know we have our good buddy Graybeard coming up.
Sweet.
Early November. We're going to go up to the camp and spend 3 or 4 days up there.
That's
On
awesome.
the big woods. So, I mean, other than that, I really don't have much of a plan yet. But in my head, I always kind of have something, a little trick up the.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't know that I have like a necessary plan yet. I'm gonna see where it kind of goes from here with what cameras I have out. I'm gonna keep trying to get a camera out. I've been pretty consistent about getting one out like every weekend or every other weekend. So keep my cameras out, and I've been trying to hit some new properties and stuff like that. Hit a couple of just dead ends, and I walked them, and I thought they were going to be better for me scouting, but I'm with you on the needing to be prepared going into the season. I kind of find if I don't get prepared for it, I'm not so much like overlooking spots. I'm more like paralysis by analysis, if that makes sense. Because I start e-scouting, I'm like, oh, what if I hunt here? What if I hunt here? What if I hunt here? And then I just like end up bouncing around all over the place, and then my camera show me different. I should have hunted this. I should have hunted that. And yeah.
Some of my problems are I'll start falling back into my old habits or what's comfortable.
Yeah.
If I don't have a good plan. But what's nice is we've been doing this long enough. We have properties that we've been on long enough. I kind of have a good game, at least some kind of game plan set in stone. It's like, okay, I'd like to target this area early, and then I'd like to target this area, mid-October, where I've had good success over the last 3 or 4 years. We have some historical data built up now where we can kind of say, hey, this part of the property's hot early.
Totally.
This part, then this turns on, and then that turns on, and so forth down the line. So, but I totally get what you mean too. If you start bouncing around and kind of getting to the point where you're struggling to make decisions, or you're just on full tilt and you're out there running around like a chicken with your head cut off.
Yep.
At some point you gotta stop and just like slow down and just start to kind of look at what you know.
Yeah.
Revert back to what you know. And that's great advice that I need to take myself, because there's years where I'll go back and I'm like totally missing the most basic concept of bedding that I know, but I'm not even thinking about it when I'm game planning with where I'm going to hunt and how I'm going to hunt different properties.
Yep.
Especially in hill country, hill country bedding. It's like you throw all that out the window when you start to get, a little riled up or kind of feel like you're losing the season, or, things are getting away from you. So it's not a bad idea sometimes to just kind of pump the brakes.
Yeah, man. You gotta think of that KISS, man. That KISS strategy. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
That's one of those things. It's just even so far, the places that I have scouted, It's kind of like you were talking about the acorns. I've noticed these like banner acorn crops this year, and I'm already in the back of my mind like, oh, I could hunt this spot because there's a pile of food
Yep.
right now. I can hunt this spot. I know I'm going to do it to myself, but hopefully I can just slow the brain down a little bit and just go back to the base, like you said. I give people that advice too, and then I don't take my own advice sometimes. So
Oh, 100%. I do that all the time.
yeah, yeah. So
I
we'll
know
see.
that it is nice though to know going into the season because a lot of these places I don't get to. I don't scout them ahead of time. I kind of scout as I'm, in the woods
Yep.
hunting them, but I at least have in my mind, like last year, perfect example. I went in early season. It was hot. I said, I know where a big oak tree is. If it's dropping acorns, I'm going to hunt it.
Yep.
And if it's not, I'm going to keep going and I'm going to go to the next one down
Yeah.
to another spot where I know that's pretty good. And I end up finding some acorn, finding some feeding signs, set up, shot 2 doe that night.
That's beautiful.
So, like, yeah, that kind of stuff I love to do, that in-season scout and just kind of live what's fresh sign, then set up and hunt over it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that too. Like even last year I was bouncing around some spots and then there was a spot I always wanted to hunt and I ended up getting in there and it was the best spot all year. The first hunt I had in there had a great encounter with a big buck and I ended up putting a camera up in there, had all kinds of good opportunities and stuff and there were a lot of deer in there. So I ended up finding a spot by scouting my way in, which is
Mm-hmm.
pretty awesome. And it's kind of like you said earlier too. I have a couple of those spots that I haven't been in this year yet, but historically they're good and I know I can go in and get on deer, which I think is going to be pretty cool. But
So let me ask you something, because this is a perfect example of what I do, and I'm sure if we both are doing it, then other people probably are as well. So you've been out, you've been doing some summer scouting in new places, putting cameras up, you're getting new data. But at the end of the day, we have these spots like you're talking about that we've been to year after year. We're comfortable with them. Do you, going into season, are you planning to go to these new spots and try to hunt the data you have and hunt the fresh sign? Or are you planning on kind of bouncing from those properties and some of your old properties because some of these other properties you've hunted for years are going to have deer at places that are good whenever acorns are good?
like kind of like I know I got some bigger deer on a couple of these newer spots, which I'm going to try and hunt, especially if they're staying
Mm-hmm.
consistent. I doubt they will, but if they do, I'm going to be in there. But at the same time, once we hit that time frame that I love, like that October 25th through like the 2nd, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
be going to some of those historical spots that are just banner that time of year. You know what I mean? And I'm
Okay.
going to hunt them hard. It just is what it is because it's too hard to pass up that opportunity. I've had
Yes.
too many good experiences in them in those time frames. It's just whether it's that funnel type area where they're starting that pre-rut and they're starting to really get antsy and you start seeing a lot of deer and it's usually a lot of bucks. I will
Mm-hmm.
probably be in there. Unless for some reason, like I might want to go back if I start one of the other cameras starts blowing up like crazy or something like that. During that time, I might leave those other ones and hunt those ones. We'll see. But the
I was
historical
gonna.
data, I think that you've been talking about is just in the back of my mind. It always is.
That is probably what was going to lead into the next question is what does it take new data wise to overrule historical data in your mind? Because like you just said, you have spots and I know I have spots where you hunt there because year after year you've seen some success or you've had success or seen a bunch of deer doing the same stuff. But then you have these new places and the cameras are telling you, hey, here's new data, the deer are here. Maybe it's sporadic. It's not, obviously, if anything, new data wise was bang, bang, bang over time. One day after the next, you're going to hunt it.
Yeah.
But you have some sporadic, hotter activity, new data on new properties. What's it take for you to, hunt that over a really good historical data spot in the October 25th to 31st timeframe or whatever it is?
Like October 25th ish through like the 2nd.
Mhm.
That's like my favorite. If you want to call that a week,
Yeah.
that's like my favorite time frame to hunt. It's just I've killed a majority of the bucks that I've killed in those couple days, like the end of October.
Yeah.
But if I was going to be pulled by something, like I really like that rule of 3. Like if something's staying consistent, like the weather staying consistent, you have a deer showing up like 2 days in a row, right around the same time. Chances are that rule of 3, and he might do that third time I'm going to be in there. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That there's that. That would pull me away from it probably. Especially if the one starts showing up consistent, that would pull me. But other than that, man, those areas that I like, those travel corridors and stuff, I know I'm gonna see deer. So
Hmm.
it would have to be something pretty dang consistent to pull me away from that.
Yeah. Yeah. The sporadic, one big buck every 3 days, or, you know, a big buck on a couple different winds or whatnot.
Yeah, or if you
It's
start
not,
noticing a pattern, like he starts showing up, like you just
yeah,
said, every 3 days or something like that. That third day, you better believe I'm gonna.
right. See, that's the power of having that ultimate scouting tool in your back pocket, which is a cellular camera. I mean, and that's what we use it as, is scouting and trying to pick up patterns and consistencies of deer behavior in these spots. So nobody can be in two places at once, but at least you can scout multiple places at the same time with these cameras. But again, cameras they don't tell you the whole story. So
No.
it's tough. It really is a tough situation when you're talking about trying to find new places to hunt and trying to hunt them all in a season. You might only get out a handful of times a year,
Totally.
whatever that is. It's like, how do you pick what spot to be in,
Best
with your
odds,
limited
man.
availability?
If you like, I don't want to keep going back to the historical data, but I mean, if you feel like you have the best odds in one spot, that's what's going to do it.
So historical data is king for you. Then I personally agree with that, because it's shown me the best success. Historical data over 2-3 years, if not more, as long as that property's not changing up a whole lot,
Yeah.
I have found some very consistent deer behavior in certain spots at certain times of the year.
Oh yeah, man, and especially if there's other like climate factors or something that roll into it, like you have that money wind that you want to hunt on that. If they fall in those days, I'm going to be there. If we get a cold front, I'm going to be there. You know what I mean? And if all 3 of them fall in, like you got a deer consistently showing up, a cold front coming in, and the wind's right. I mean, it's just, I'm not saying you're going to kill them, but I mean, even if you got eyes on them, that would be a win in my book.
Here's a fun question for you. Do you hunt the spots that you have killed bucks in prior years on the day that you killed that buck, your buckversaries?
I have.
Do you hunt the spots? Yeah.
I have.
You ever seen anything or even come close to success?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, one year, I almost freaking killed a deer on it. And it would have been the 2nd year in a row. He just would not stop. I think I've talked about it on the podcast before. It was actually behind one of my properties near my house. It was on actual Halloween. I had killed one the year before, and then this deer came through, dude, and he was dogging a doe on Halloween. Really, really nice buck. And I was like practically doing jumping jacks in the stand trying to get him to stop, and he would not. And he was moving, like boogieing. So I wasn't going to take a running shot or anything like that, but it was.
Yeah, I think only one time, and it was several years ago, I shot that real cool looking half rack buck.
I love that buck.
Yeah, I shot that buck, and then the next year I hunted the same tree, and I had a really nice buck, but he was just on the other side of the creek.
Oh
And he
yeah.
was chasing through the swamp. But that's it. I mean, I've tried the buckversary thing several times, and that's again what we're really talking about is historical data.
Yeah.
You killed there that day in those conditions a year prior, that time frame, and it's not always the exact same date. And that's kind of what I'm getting at, is because
Yeah.
sometimes it might be the day after. It's usually that we'll call the rule of three as well. It could be 3 days before, 3 days after, that you're going to potentially see similar behavior.
Yeah.
Um,
And people do it. I mean, there's some guys you'll see. I mean, they'll hunt the same tree year after year, and they might kill a deer out of that tree year after year on that day. They do it. I've never done it, but
Not yet.
not yet. That's exactly it.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, man.
I think it's fun conversation because, so many people are hunting new public land spots and they're losing permission pieces and they're going to new places and nobody can have enough places to hunt, right? So when you're scouting and you're working these new properties this time of year and you're, I guess, trying to figure out what you have where, if you're a weekend warrior like we are for the most part, you really got to use those days wisely and attack a spot when the iron's hot. So it's like, don't fall into your old habits of, well, you know what, I'm just going to go hunt over there because I know the tree and it's a comfortable tree to climb and, the access is easy. You just can't fall into those old bad habits. I've done it too many years because, when you take historical data over 20 years, that starts to become irrelevant, in my opinion. Not always and not everywhere. Like, you start to hunt places because you've hunted them for 20 years
Mm-hmm.
and you've seen deer there or you've had success in the past. And over the last 7 years, you haven't seen a deer there. And you're like, wait, why do I keep coming back to this spot?
Yeah.
Like, I haven't seen a deer here in 7 years. Yeah, 15 years ago, I did really well here. But now it's like, why am I keep coming here? I'm done because it's comfortable.
Absolutely. And I feel like I kind of have a really good example of that, like being a weekend warrior and hunting a lot of public and trying to find some new spots on public, man. Like I was talking about, I might get out once a weekend to do a little bit of scouting and put out a camera or something like that. The last 2 weekends in a row have not been tremendous scouting, and I haven't had a lot on camera, so I was actually getting a little bit nervous. And then this spot that I hit this last weekend that I threw a camera up, it was like a game changer for me because all of a sudden I have good deer on camera. I mean, it only takes one time. You got to try and capitalize on those spots because all the other ones that I walked before, I was not excited about.
Yeah.
Use your time wisely.
Yeah, it's a fun conversation. This is a lot of what I do internally and just trying to build out that playbook like we talked about earlier to be prepared for season when season's coming up. Like right now is the best time to do it. Start thinking about it. I even like to jump back in my phone. I'll go back through all my pictures from last year. That's the first place I start. I'll go into my pictures. I'll find all the buck pictures from last year. I take a screenshot, make sure the screenshot has the date and time in it, and I'll start looking through them. And it's craziness maybe, but it's the easiest way for me to find what deer were doing a year prior, and it gives me a really good starting point for this season. And then from there, I guess we put it all together. I'll start to do that live, in-person scouting while you're hunting.
Yeah.
Trying to find good spots.
Yeah, I'm with you. And it's funny. I was giggling when you started saying that because I do the same exact thing. And I'll even take it like one step further, man. Like I'm screenshotting those dates and times and I'm going back on like Wonderground and I'm trying to figure out what the barometric pressure was and the wind and everything else just to see like, was that deer coming in on like a wind that I could hunt it? And, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't, but I try and use that data just to see like what those deer are comfortable coming in on.
Yeah, it's a great tool. Wonderground is a great tool trying to figure out at least a similar weather plan to what those deer like. Really, I can basically say that with confidence that's what put me in the right spot when I killed Crooked Tine. Last year I knew that deer was showing up on camera pretty consistently on I believe it was a southwest wind. And it was also just happened to be the best wind for me to hunt that spot.
Which is awesome.
Which is just, it's a perfect storm. And even though I hadn't seen that deer in like, I don't even remember how many days, 17 days on camera, was like, you know what? The conditions are right. There's a front coming in. There's going to be, something happening, and that's a perfect wind. Everything was lining up. I went out and boom, there's bucks moving all over the place. So it can turn on that quickly. You just got to be, in the right place at the right time. But I can say if you do your homework, you do everything, put the effort in, you can put yourself in the right place at the right time more often.
Yeah, no, I would totally agree with that, dude. I would absolutely. And I think that's good advice for people too. Like, just even trying to figure out a spot, and you do have cameras and you do have pictures of them, even if you can just get a general idea and then actually, put that into motion, get out in the woods and, try and confirm that idea and that data. That's the best way you can learn a spot.
Yeah, for sure. Or at least a pattern.
Yeah. Or establish a pattern.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's
man.
hard to beat, man. It's this is the part of hunting that you can do right now that, yeah, it's a little bit of effort, but it doesn't cost you anything.
Yep.
It doesn't cost you anything to sit here and think.
Yeah.
Nothing but time. I don't know.
Dude,
It's just something that I'm always doing. I'm always trying to think of what can I do to make the most efficient hunts possible for this upcoming season.
totally.
Well, you know,
I felt like a psychopath lately, man. The amount of e-scouting I've been doing, just laying in bed at night, I'm on Onyx. I'm either on my laptop or on my phone, and I'm searching out spots, man. And that's what I've been walking a lot of. Even that spot I found that I went and looked at it was a weekend before. Dude, it looked so money on the spot. And it was a good spot. Turned out somebody else was in there, so that makes sense. It's just that spot is, I guarantee, overlooked. And I think the guy was coming in from the private anyway. I don't think it's anybody else. But just based on his setup. But finding those overlooked spots, if even if it's just a small parcel, if people aren't hunting it and it has the right stuff, it's so much.
Yeah, I can say that for sure. It does not have to be big either.
No.
We just recently, Sam has been cutting a yard for one of our customers, and it's one of her lots that she has, not where she lives, but it's out where I think she used to have business or whatever. And he just happened to ask her if he could hunt there, and it's not big. It might be less than 10 acres, I bet you.
Yeah.
And it's nothing that anybody would ever look at and go, man, I want to hunt here. It's literally just a little yard that he cuts with some trees in it. And then they log the bottom. Basically, it goes down a pretty steep hill, and there's like a flat, and then it goes down into an even steeper bottom, and there's water at the bottom. And it's like, you look at it, nobody in the right mind would say, I want to hunt there. He puts up a camera the other day, and he's got a great buck walking right down the middle of that trail, that road, days after hanging the camera.
Isn't that awesome?
Like, yeah, like, you want to talk about an overlooked spot that I'm sure nobody in their right mind is going to hunt, because one, it's all downhill and it's steep downhill.
Yeah.
But the deer are living there.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
And they're loving it because nobody's bothering them.
And she's probably never had anybody ever ask for permission.
No, and he even said it himself. He's known this lady his whole life. He's never thought her to be, a pro hunting type person. So he's never really asked. It just on a whim he asked her, and she was totally okay with it.
That's so cool.
Right? Like, what are the odds? She's like, yeah, absolutely, you can hunt there. And he was kind of taken back from it because, like you said, he grew growing up. She was always like a very pro animal loving type person, not someone you would think that would be, supportive of hunting. And sure enough, he got the permission, which means he's the only one hunting it. And again, I don't think any of the neighbors are going to be hunting because their backyards are basically just cliffs that drop down into this bottom.
Yeah.
So it's a totally overlooked spot.
They're probably
It's
up in
not
her yard eating her hostas, and she's tired of it.
Yeah, exactly. But
Oh,
it's
man.
it goes to show, man, if you put a little bit of effort in and you gain that extra permission property, or you go out and you put some cameras up, even if they're not cellular cameras, which in today's world they're totally affordable now. And if you don't want to do that, that's fine. Just get regular cameras and check them when you go in to hunt. I plan already to have 2 or 3 spots that I'm going to go in the first week of season. I'm going to hunt, and on the way in, I'm going to hang a camera or two.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I know I did the same thing last year, and I left that camera there all year long. I ended up pulling it in turkey season, but I left it there all year long, and I got some really great data from that side of the property later in the year after I'd already filled my buck tag on deer, junior included, working through that area during the rut.
Yeah, that's
So,
great. That's great.
shift in his pattern. If I have that camera up over there and he does it again, I know where to set up. I know how to, approach to try to kill that deer.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I think that's a really good tactic too, man. That's something that I used last year. I made sure every time I went out, I had a camera in my bag, which I've talked about it a million times before, like wanting to do that. And every time I would go out, I'd be like, oh man, I wish I had a camera with me. This spot looks awesome. And then I forget about that spot.
Yeah.
Or I don't have a good opportunity when I'm hunting it and I just overlook it. But I did that last year. Every time I went out, I had a camera with me, and I put out a bunch of cameras from scouting my way in, and I got a pile of good.
Yeah. Just make sure you have enough time to hang that camera before you go up in your tree, and don't get stuck climbing your tree when a 130-inch deer comes busting out right underneath you with your bow in the ground.
You act like
Like
that's
some of
happened
us.
to you before or something.
Was I getting way too descriptive? Yeah,
Oh man,
that is a problem.
that
And I
can
will
be.
say, if you're gonna bring a camera in, at least know where you're gonna put it ahead of time, or have a good idea, and get it up quick and get up your tree quick.
Yeah,
Don't dilly-dally. Do everything with a purpose. That was my mantra that my entire season that year was, let's do this with a purpose.
yeah, I can agree with that for sure. Well, what else you got
Well,
exciting, man? Anything? Anything you're
dude,
excited about?
I'm super excited for this season. I really am. We have great deer on camera. We have food plots going in. We've been feeding the deer, hopefully it's helped with their antler growth, and just I know that the young deer look healthy. The turkey flocks are healthy. I'm excited about that.
There you
uh,
go.
Getting some really cool pictures of some flocks of turkeys right now in the food plot behind Sam's parents that we've been working on for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years now. So there's so much happening right now all at the same time. These just with deer and velvet dropping and prepping. I love it, but it's also the worst time of year because I'm about to just say we got to stop getting in the woods. I know I'm not going to set foot again on that property until hunting season.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'd try and let that place roll. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're done. I mean, we're done. We did what we need to do, and we're staying out. We try to minimize our pressure on that property as much as possible. I think I was in there 3 times this summer, and it was basically just once a month to refill food. And every time we went in, we would, fix cameras if we need to fix cameras, and trim lanes or do whatever we need to do.
Nice,
So
nice.
now we're going to let the deer do their thing and get comfortable and start to create their own rituals and patterns and do their thing. But yeah, that would be my best advice is, if you haven't gotten your stuff done, get it done quickly,
Yeah,
or wait till the season and do it then, because if you're going out a week or two before season and you're stomping all over the woods, you're going to start to educate some deer.
yeah. I can totally get her done, boys. It's coming
Yep.
quick.
It is. It's coming very quickly.
It's.
Super exciting. Are you going to try to get out to 2B with us at all this year, or what?
I would like to. If I can, if I have an opportunity, I definitely will. Towards the end of September, I know my wife has a big trip planned for work. But when does it come?
Personally,
When does 2B come in? 20th?
the 20th is the first day.
The 20th is the first day. We have a big
No,
podcast.
21st.
The 21st. Oh, we have a wedding that day.
Yes,
Yeah,
we have a wedding that day.
wedding that day.
I don't know if I'll get out that day,
Yeah.
but if I do hunt, I'll probably hunt it Friday the 27th in the evening, and then maybe Saturday 28th in the morning, because I have another wedding that day as well.
There you
But
go.
evening wedding, so I think I can get out in the morning.
Yeah.
So those are 2 hunts I'll probably get down to 2B, and then that's probably it, to be honest.
If I'm going to be able to get out, it's going to be probably the 21st in the morning, because that second weekend is my wife's going to be out of town and I am on daddy duty. So I'll be doing that unless I bring them with me, which I could.
You could.
I could. I got a ground blind this year, so Logan's been super freaking excited about wanting to go hunting. So I went out and bought a ground blind last weekend.
Nice.
Yeah, she's been running cameras and stuff with me, so I'll try and shoot a doe with her. I think
that'd be really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe. Maybe. I don't know if I
And
want to
we'll
bring both kids out in
Yeah.
the woods with hunting gear and everything else. That sounds a little much, but maybe I'll
The
get a wild
blind
hair
makes
up my
everything.
ass.
Yeah, but the blind makes everything easier. You don't have to climb a tree. You don't have to worry about any of that prep. And you just got to go up and pop up a blind and sit in it and hope that a deer down there especially is dumb enough to walk in front of you, and I'm sure there's plenty of them.
I'm sure there's plenty of them. Bring lots of snacks and their tablets.
That's it.
Yeah. Awesome.
There you go.
Awesome.
Parenting 101.
Yes, sir. Sure. Well, other than that,
Well, yeah.
buddy, I don't have anything until next week, I guess. I'm not sure, but you got anything
Yeah.
left to shout out or anything?
No, man. I think we're going. Oh, you know what? I do want to just shout out an update on the WDP Patreon archery competition right now. It is heating up
Neck and
this
neck.
week, dude. It is insane at the top. We have Mikey Fennel currently in first place by only a half an inch
Good gravy.
in front of Huff. Yep.
Dude, Huff is
And
a
then-
shooter, man.
Oh yeah, they both are, man. But right at the top there, we got Matt, we have Cody, we have Adam. Like it is, I honestly, in this week's challenge is 6 shots at 30 yards at a 1-inch circle.
Yeah.
So this is a man's game after this week.
It's gonna
We'll
be
see what happens.
It's gonna be wild. I would suggest to those guys, if they're listening, one at a time.
Yeah, we're talking about a little bit of that on the Patreon Marco Polo group about kind of where everybody's head is with this and what their game plan is, what their mindset is, because it is a very small circle at a pretty decent distance.
Yep.
And when that camera's rolling and you know the pressure's on, because one bad round, I mean, that can make or break you right now.
Totally.
And this is the second to last week. Next week's our final week for the challenge. And then we're jumping into people's seasons. So it's been fun. I hope that we gain more people for future years to jump on and do this challenge with us. I know we've had 16 or 17 people shooting the challenge. So
Pretty sweet.
very exciting.
Very
Very
exciting.
exciting.
I love it, dude.
That's it. That's all I got.
I like it. Well, let's wrap this bad boy up then.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Until next week.
The distraction is real.
Let's go.